Hello beloveds, my name is Evonne from Embodying Mother and welcome to the cycle report for the 3rd of March 2019. And I come to you from Dja Dja Wurrung country in Central Highlands, Victoria, Australia. So I'm just feeling the wind here. It's just picked up as I was saying that, which is a bit exciting. So here in the Southern Hemisphere on this particular land, we are 2.5 weeks off Autumn Equinox. So Autumn Equinox being the equal day and equal night, so equal light and equal darkness. And we are in a descent phase, so we are heading into more dark than light, whereas in the Northern Hemisphere they are moving into the lightness after their deep winter. So what is happening on this land, and as you can see behind me, although we're still getting lots of fruit from our garden, so Autumn Equinox being the pagan tradition of Mabon, which is the second harvest out of the 3, the land is actually really dry, so we haven't really had any rain here for a while, and it reminds me of the Demeter and Persephone story. So if you know the Greek mythology story of Demeter and Persephone, so when Persephone gets taken into the underworld by Hades, Demeter walks around the countryside crying, and she withholds all the grain. So Demeter being the mother of the grain, she makes everything go dry and she doesn't nourish anything and just lets everything die in her grief. So it really feels that that story is coming here on this land as we move into a descent into this underworld phase of the upcoming months into the darkness. So that really sits with me and resonates with me on this particular land. Even though it's a Greek mythology, I feel it's very potent remembering of these stories, so we can track the cycles of what's to come and to plan around it, so a mapping. We are also in a descent phase, so a really dark, deep descent phase of this moon cycle. So we are under a balsamic moon, heading into a dark moon. So, you know, pretty much a dark moon phase, which is all about the letting go. So letting go what no longer serves. So it's a good time to take note of what's arising in your life and where are the scratchy bits and where are the bits that you think, this is not longer serving me, or this is not doing me any favors, or my family any favors, or the land any favors. So what do you need to change? What do you need to let go in this descent, deep descent phase of the balsamic phase of the moon cycle? So in balsamic, you know, you think of balsamic vinegar, you know, which is the end product of, you know, all the processing that happens, and it contains the most richness of the whole cycle. So it also reminds me of the rose hip. So you have a rose that goes through the whole cycle from being a bud and opening up to that Valentine's Day rose, to the mother rose, which is full open, and then it starts to die off and the petals start to get wilted and dry on the end, but still the most potent smell is that wilting rose. And then at the end, once all of her petals are fallen off, the seeds and the most potent medicine and vitamin C in the rose hip is left, and the seeds for the next phase. So think about letting go of what no longer serves, but also think about what seeds, what are the gold, what's the richness of that letting go that you can take with you into the next moon phase, which begins next Wednesday here in the Southern Hemisphere. So it's a good time maybe on Monday and Tuesday to do some new moon, dark moon prayers of what no longer serves. So a let go of all that no longer serves, or whatever that is coming into your life, and gathering the gold from that. And then on Wednesday afternoon is to, you know, plant the new seeds from the gold that you've collected, and what do you want to bring in. So I give great thanks for a beautiful harvest to come in for this moon cycle, or whatever it may be for you. My personal menstrual cycle, I am on day 3. So It's been a really interesting menstrual cycle for me, that I've gone basically from day 16 and I've jumped to day 3 or day 1 into bleeding, which has been quite a mind fuck actually, really, because I was so full of energy and potent, you know, just really busy and really clear, to coming into bleeding and feeling really tired. I've had a lot of illness come up this week, and a lot of things that are, a lot of things are rising to the surface. So I've been having a lot of body work done really intensively by an amazing chiro in Dalesford. So Jane, if you're looking for an awesome magic person who does body work and you live in the Central Highlands area, I put a plug in there for Jane Andrews. She's amazing. So we've been working together to shift pain in my hip and my neck, and what's been rising up from that has been actually grief. So I lost my sister 3 years ago, so I feel that it's, you know, that's all been coming up this week in a really strong way, and I feel it's a lot of ancestral grief as well, sort of sitting in my body. So, you know, along with this dark moon and now being catapulted into a bleed, it feels a really strong call for me to really look at what no longer serves in my life, so I can move through into the next phase of both my bleeding cycle and this new moon cycle into a descent phase on the earth with lots of potent magic that can push me into a higher place of well-being and wholeness. Oh gosh, so that is me. And also to know too that I remembered this morning that where I'm sitting right now, know that, you know, this time in 2 weeks will not be where I am now. So this too will change, as all the cycle will be, and just to, you know, ground yourself in. So this might be my practice this week when everything's feeling like it's shaking. It feels like the Tower card in the tarot, if you do tarot, of just sort of letting go, letting go, letting go, letting go, and knowing what's to come is, you know, it will be you know, some kind of expansion from that. So knowing there is gold to come, but this too will change, and I will too move around to the next point in the wheel on the map. So that is my personal cycle and where I sit on the land, and where the moon is. So just a couple of reflective questions for you. What are you letting go on this dark moon? What is the gold that you are taking, the seeds that you're taking from your harvest, or what you're letting go, and what are you bringing in on this new moon? And also, if you're a bleeding woman, to take note of where you're at in your cycle, and maybe if you don't already, is to start charting your cycle, so you can take notes as to what is happening and what is your map on your own cycle. So it's always good information to have, because, you know, you can start planning things around it. So if you got to give a presentation, you know, plan it when you're ovulating, or when you are, you know, knowing that when you're about to come up to bleed, you know, to schedule some rest time or some early to bed time, whatever that is for you. So that is an invitation, of course. Just a couple of plugs of invitations. So I will be running an online Zoom circle from Autumn Equinox. So I will put the details of that in this description down below. And also I'm available for one-on-one transitional priestessing. So priestessing is like a holding space. So if you're moving through a big transition at the moment, whether it's through, you know, your body transition, through pregnancy or birth, or if you're even birthing yourself or a project and you need someone to hold that space for you to talk to, I am available to do that one-on-one as well, which can be in person and on Zoom. And we do some shamanic practices within that and some processes to help map it and help guide the tracking of your birthing process and transformative process. So from my heart to your heart, may you always remember that you are deeply loved and deeply held. And I wish you so, so, so much love and gentleness in this deep, dark moon balsamic phase. Thank you for listening. All my love. Take care.